Please welcome Ivis Anderson.
My name is Aivars Andersons. I'm from organization Dzīvnieku brīvība, and it is the first and so far the only organization in Latvia which does both animal rights work and vegan outreach work, as those things, as we know, are closely connected. And this is our amazing team of activists, a part of it at least, so who are doing this a lot of daily work which brings the change to Latvia. And so Dzīvnieku brīvība was founded in 2012, so we are a rather new organization, and our focus is to work on factory farming and animals in entertainment and things connected to these industries. And I will talk about the circus ban specifically today. And so I start what is the current situation in Latvia. It is that from in 2014 beginning there was no discussion at all, and this question didn't exist in public space. And currently this issue has passed some animal circus working group in Ministry of Agriculture, which was specifically set up to discuss this issue. Then it passed the Animal Protection and Welfare Advisory Council, which is a kind of a very interesting council, because it's made to actually not allow animal protection improvements. What they did, they put animal protection organization on one side, farmers on the other side, and Ministry of Agriculture is like nicely looking how these two groups fight, and then they say, okay, there was no agreement or whatever. So there's a kind of state scum institution in a way, but they didn't care about circus that much, so they passed this stage easily. And now Ministry of Agriculture also has approved and made a bill, a draft law, to pass to the parliament. So now it is in the Secretaries of State meeting, which is the highest administrative workers in all ministries except for minister, which people who do the actual job in ministry. So after this meeting it will go to the government, the cabinet of ministers, and then if nothing bad happens to a parliament for a vote. But it is a very promising situation, because almost all stakeholders in this issue are supporting the ban, and there is no support for the idea against ban. So unless something really crazy comes up, we hope that the ban will be here, maybe beginning next year. So I wanted, since we started this campaign in 2014, and the ban is already here, I suppose it's one of the quickest results in Europe to achieve such ban, because as I know in many countries this struggle goes on for years and years and maybe decades sometimes. And I know in Great Britain activists started a long time ago, and they also have this ban just pending. And I don't know about Estonia, how long ago, but probably it's also a good progress. Yeah, but and I'm glad to hear about the new development of this issue. But how did we achieve it in this time? And I think there are three elements, and one is like strategic action which we took. And one element is that before, as there was no discussion in society, we needed to create this discussion. We needed to create a position with which people could align. Because before, even if a person personally was against animal use in circus, there was no public opinion as such. There was no opinion in public to which a person could say, okay, I'm also the same opinion, we are the same. So everyone had this personal opinion. And by bringing this idea to public, we created a situation where many people could say, yes, but I believe this idea, I support this idea too. And so that got some public momentum. And of course we were like directly confronting the circus industry, but in a way not to be too aggressive, not to be seen as radical, but in order to get the mainstream public sympathies. Because without public sympathy, we cannot get these ideas across. We cannot, if we get radicalized, then there is no change possible. And of course, we tried during the process to involve other parties, like different state institutions, to drag them into this process and present them to the public, so that it all happens in front of people, so they can see what is happening. Because behind the closed doors of these institutions, nothing happens. Like just talk. And another element is like persistence. Like in two ways. One was like when we started the protests, we knew we are not going away. We will be coming and coming and coming, and it will never stop. And that's the promise we made ourselves. And another way, when we started to work with state institutions, we didn't we were not to get back. We keep pushing and pushing and did everything and didn't accept their excuses and say, okay, if what you say, then we shut up now. But most of all, I think, is as much as I would like to think is our kind of smart action and persistent action, I think the most element was luck. And it's like impossible coincidences which were happening during all this campaign, without which it wouldn't be possible to achieve this result or even anything close to it. And before I will tell about some elements of this, but before of all, I would like to say a couple of words why circus campaign. After all, in animal circuses, there are a very tiny number of animals compared to any animal agriculture, like chicken, 2 million, circus maybe 20 animals per year are coming to town, and they are not even killing them. You know, it's like, it might seem not as much a big as issue as a farmed animals, but we think it's a very important campaign because it's a symbolic way how we relate to animals. Can we just take them, put into cages and make them entertain us? And also, this symbolic victory is really important for people to say, okay, I'm at least supporting some kind of animal protection, some issues. I'm for the animals at least somehow. So it kind of makes a bit of new identity for people, so it's easier to take next steps. Maybe they don't think that some vegetarian campaign is a crazy thing anymore after a while, or maybe they are more likely to support some farmed animals campaign a bit more than before the circus campaign. And also most people do not go to circuses anyway, so it's easy for them to start with this step. And it was good in this way for our organization, because it gave us, as a new organization, it gave us a very important possibility to be on the streets, to be out in public, to get visible, to get support from the public, and so people learn that we exist. And of course, it allowed us to increase our membership base, because people saw, oh, there's this organization doing this animal protection work, why don't I join? And many people joined in this campaign, and many activists joined, and so it was very good. And also for activists, it was a good training. As a young organization, we didn't know much about how to work with media, how to work with politicians. Like, we are just young group of activists trying to learn things, and the circus campaign it provided a great opportunity for organization, for activists to train. And this is how we actually started, but not the campaign as such. Like, it was 2012, we had like a day before circus, elephants were taken around the district. They say it's for elephant to learn where he lives. So yeah, but we made a banner, and we were very nervous and very secretive, and we came and like conspirators throw the banner on the face. It says like, for animals, circus is no entertainment. And so we were so scared, we ran away, we didn't even care to take quality photos or anything. And we actually got into media. There was one sentence that about this whole elephants going around circus, and it said like, that there was a protesters as well, and we were so enjoying this sentence. Yeah, we can influence the media, there is a sentence about us. So yeah, we were very proud about that. But actually, yeah, it was a separate action, and the real beginning came in 2014, also by a lucky coincidence. we were just finished a phase in food campaign and we had more resources for activists. And we were like thinking maybe we should take some other campaign, so we have time and resources for that. And elderly couple from Great Britain wrote on Facebook to our group that, you know, there is this Lars Hofscher from Switzerland, a notorious animal trainer, coming to Riga. And this trainer was caught in Great Britain beating the elephants with a hook, and his worker was brutalizing the animals. And we thought, okay, why not? And we just published this investigation to media, and there is a huge scandal, and we demand Riga Circus to drop contract with this, and Circus come back and said, no, it's a normal artist, and we continue. And again, that's what we wanted, so we say, okay, we go to protest you. And also at the same time, we wrote the elephants. He had two elephants. One was, they both were somewhat ill. One was almost blind, and another one has a partially paralyzed trunk. And by law, you cannot use ill animals in these spectacles. So we wrote to state veterinary that, okay, this is like ill animals, maybe they should be removed from the show. Okay, and this later came back, they said, okay, the animals are clinically healthy. Okay, whatever that means. But yeah, this, of course, this bureaucratic reply didn't satisfy us, and from there we clearly understood like that we have to parallelly take two approaches. And one was like this public outreach, where we engage the public with these issues and try to get more support and get into media. And another was work with state institutions, so that that's what we started. And yeah, I will talk first about demos a bit, and then a bit about this political part, institutional side of it. So why protests again? The protests, they are clearly not for people who come to circus, because they already know they want to come. It's not that it's possible to persuade them. The protests are for media, because we want to bring this idea that it's possible to oppose this practice to wide audience, and media is interested not in animal issues. It's like animal in the cage, whatever. They are interested in social conflict. There is this group which doesn't accept another group, so they come protest and they are responding, and there is conflict, and not the idea that it's something unethical. It's the event as such that interests media. So we were out there to make an event, and actually after the first protest against Hofscher, the support was unexpectedly high. And then we decided, okay, we are going out there for the whole summer, and we'll protest each and every single show of this. So we made in this summer 26 protests, a nice summer training for activists. We calculated that in order to look somewhat almost decent, we need at least 15 activists. So that almost every protest we got this. The lowest number was 13, so it was like empty, but still nice. At the biggest ones there was like 70 or 80 people. And the good thing is Riga Circus building in the center of town, so it's easy to come and easy to participate in the protests, and they cannot run away or hide in some district. So yeah, and yeah, the challenge was to break this silent acceptance of circus, that there is no dissenting voice. So I think we managed to get this dissenting voice out there, and yeah, reach the media. And yeah, this is like the woman on the left is like the circus trainer, so she is very brave to come to face protesters. It didn't go very well, because as protesters realized who she was, there were many protesters against one dancer. It would be more polite, but people were heated with emotions. But anyhow, yeah, she believed honestly in all her heart that it's okay to do this with animal circus, that it's no problem. We also started like signature collection so that people who pass has something to do, so they can get involved at least symbolically, and we are collecting signatures all summer. And the thing is that after the first few protests, media quickly lost interest, because what's news? News is something which didn't happen before, and you make 26 protests like after the second or third one, like there is not even a single mention anywhere. Right? So, but luckily some other programs got interested, and the question shifted. If the first question is like, what is unusual thing happening here today? That like, what's happening here today? And the question shifted to a bit different one. Like, why doesn't it stop? Why does it go on and on? And why are those people here? And why don't they go away? And what's going on? And so the serious discussion program was made. And it's also lucky because it was like a journalist or an editor in a program. If there wasn't this single person, the program wouldn't happen, discussion wouldn't happen. Yeah, so this is one of the lucky part. And I was in the discussion, circus director on the left and the philosopher, who was like neutral, but still he wasn't supporting circus. He was like just from rational carnist position, just saying how circus is bad. In what ways it's not good for certain. Yeah? And so yeah, and that's funny thing, because like another lucky thing is that the circus director, we used to joke afterwards that she's our best activist, because every time she comes to explain circus position in public, it sounded so good. We say, okay, she's working on our side, actually, she's helping us. And in this, because she has different stories of different conspiracy theories, and on this program she said, for example, that it's because of the new circus, which is wanting to take over, so they are kind of investing in a green movement. And the green movement has bribed Oxford professors so they can bring these new circus shows into Europe from the US, so it's all corrupt. Yeah? It's like Coca-Cola did at Greenpeace and whatever. A lot of things she says, it's like just makes our cause easier. And there was some funny guys at the protest. This is one circus worker who came to harass us often. Finally, he would damage the camera, so we would try to push criminal charges, which were eventually dropped, but he also didn't harass us anymore after that. And there is one another who attacked an activist holding a poster with a knife. And yeah, circus ex-workers, he hangs around there in the circus, in front of circus, goes in, out regularly, we see him sometimes. And so yeah. And this is one funny journalist. He always starts his article about Dzirnavu Kubrīvība with like, radical vegan organization is trying to bring down circus. Radical vegan organization, vegan extremists. Yeah, but okay, he's not maybe that popular. Yeah, so we finished this 26 protests with kind of a positive flash mob, trying to ask kindly circus to get more heart in their shows. And yeah, and another luck is like after this first notorious trainer, like the season ended in August, and in September we knew another notorious trainer is coming to Riga. This time lion trainer from Ukraine, whose lions have actually killed a circus worker, like a caretaker of lions or something. And so again, it's interesting. It's like media took it, like again notorious trainer, and it's all in the media. We again do the protests, and the circus director also said some nice things, like to comment if it's normal. She said, "Okay, let's see if someone's ear will get bitten off this time. Yeah, we could make a lottery. Will these lions attack or not? Like, I mean, okay, very good." And again, 2015, and I don't know, this was like real popular from investigation in Russian circus. Like, it's a really nasty video. This monkey was really brutalized on arena and behind the scenes. And this was like a national shock on Facebook. This video we put, like it was more views than on national news, and it's like And it was on national news as well, on many TVs, and this really was shaken the society. And the circus director commented this, that the trainer has changed. It happened many years ago, like 3 or 4. Many years ago. She doesn't do it anymore. But the state veterinary who was going to make a check, she said on television that actually this trainer says doesn't see what's wrong with that. Like it's normal to cause this training. And so a huge scandal again. And so yeah, again some protest. We put some TV screen in front of circus with this video of monkey. I don't know if it's ethical because like, there are children, but sorry. And then beside Riga Circus in center, some other guys were coming. This is like this Zoo Imperium, which you probably all know in Estonia. So the funny thing they did, they taped the crocodile's mouth shut with a tape. And again, the state vet said, okay, that's no violation. People probably seeing these images think a bit otherwise, how to treat the crocodiles. And this was a protest against Zoo Imperium. So what they actually did to us, it was also a funny protest. Like they took this generator, like put it on to make sound and like this exhaust fumes to poison the activists. Okay. And with jeeps they cover the megaphone, so they kind of put mega loud music on and like do all nasty stuff and something. Okay, and then we got other public support. We got from choreography. There was a performance in front of circus. Some other organizations started our groups to support us. Then we made this intellectuals. We invited intellectuals to express opinion about circus, and funny enough, there are some presidential candidates and some philosophers and rather famous writers, but media, for some reason, were completely silent. Okay, I have a little time, so I will just go quickly through a work of institutions. Behind you can see the Excel table. We had so many of these letters, we needed to invent our own bureaucracy to just follow who answers us and who is late and whom we expect to answer and what they say. The one thing, there was a couple of obstacles. The first obstacle were in the discussion about animal circus was state vets, because every time a conflict comes up, state vets say, okay, there is no violations of law, but they do not say there is no law to protect animals in the first place. And so it's like false dichotomy. It's like if there are no violations, everything must be all right. But we certainly know it's not all right to keep. So we started to say about state veterinaries that okay, yeah, whatever they say, but they say to keep a bear in less than 2 square meters for all his life is fine. So. And we kept repeating that state veterinaries, so they, after a moment, they kind of gave in. And there was like, they said to another organization in a letter that we are kind of supporting this animal circus ban, and we heard from other organization immediately, we say, okay, can we meet you? Do you support this position? Press release out, and okay, there's no way back for them anymore. And so this happened. Another obstacle was Ministry of Culture, they own Riga Circus building, where they said, okay, we went to meeting with them, they say, okay, but we don't know anything about animals, and maybe you should discuss with other organizations, like Ministry of Agriculture. When we were closer to ban, then they come back to the discussion and say, wait, we have something to say about animals in circus. Now we probably know how it is. So they try to bring up the discussion back, but okay, they also kind of very quickly changed their mind at some point. And the third thing was like, this is this advisory council for Ministry of Agriculture. The third obstacle is this Ministry of Agriculture, which when we learned about politics, that actually along all this process, that the rational or scientific argument, it actually doesn't mean a thing. We even, very seldom we even had the possibility to express it, and never it was listened. It's like those politicians or administrative workers, they come to meetings, they know what's the results they want in the end. So they come with some ideas how to defend their position. If you somehow prove that there are better ideas, then they start to talk nonsense or maybe some absurdities, but just because they are not there to listen, they are there to get their result. So That's the hard way we learned about politics, that the circus, we won, I think, we won the circus not because we worked smart, yeah, but because at the end, ultimately, no one cared about the circus, so the Ministry of Agriculture just dropped it. But, okay, at least we got them to this point. Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Ivers? Yeah?
I have just a comment that I think it's a very good campaign that you made, and I would just point for one thing more, that usually little children go to circuses, so they are in the development stage, and if they get to see how animals are treated, then they will like learn that it's okay. So that is one aspect also very important.
Absolutely, we use this argument quite a bit, that it's very important that circus harms not only animal, but also society. This presence of circus is making us all worse. That's absolutely true, and also the thing that it's not that circus use this argument that children want to see animals, but actually it's quite an artificial thing, because I think no child will come to the idea that, okay, I want to see a bear on the bicycle, yeah? Like, why? I mean, children like animals, why they would put them in? So the circus is inventing itself, and then only teaching children these wrong things.
Great. Thank you very much, Ivers.